Welcome to ET Times, I am Jenny Lewis. Actress Tanya Roberts, who was reported by CNN and other media outlets to have died, citing her longtime publicist, Mike Pingle, is still alive, Pingle told CNN Monday. Pingle said he was notified Sunday evening by Roberts' longtime partner, Lance O'Brien, that Roberts had died. In a phone call Monday evening, O'Brien told CNN he was distraught after saying goodbye to Roberts at her bedside, and left Cedars-Sinai Medical Center believing it would be the last time he saw her. On Monday morning, O'Brien was notified by the hospital that Roberts is still alive, according to Pingle and O'Brien. They said it was a coincidence that O'Brien was doing an interview with Inside Edition when the hospital called. During the pre-dawn hours on New Year's Day, Delta Force operators infiltrated a Biden-controlled stronghold in southeast Ukraine near the port city of Mariupol, according to an anonymous White House source who said President Trump greenlit the operation following a series of telephone calls to U.S. military commanders and to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. A Delta detachment, known as 1 SFOD in the Special Operations Community, flew from Okinawa, Japan to the U.S. Embassy in Kiev and held position there until Trump cleared the incursion with his Ukrainian counterparts. Reliable sources said the Trump administration had obtained credible evidence that the Biden family, by proxy, owned a 200-acre estate and office building 50 kilometers northwest of Mariupol. On paper, the property was owned by Paradigm Global Advisors, a hedge fund firm in which the Bidens have controlling interest. In the late summer of 2006, Joe Biden's son Hunter and Joe's younger brother, James, bought the firm. On the first day on the job, they showed up with Biden's other son, Beau, and 3 large men and fired Paradigm's president and 95% of staff, according to a Paradigm executive who was present. After that, much of Paradigm's overseas ventures went dark but continued to rake in hefty profits despite a conspicuous lack of investors. In June 2009, Washington Free Beacon writer Thomas Breslin opined the following statement: "Paradigm is hardly a reputable company. The Bidens fired everyone and put their own people in place. The company became nothing less than a slush fund for illicit monies that the Bidens laundered through the place." The Trump administration has spent 4 years ferreting out the truth behind Paradigm Global Advisors, according to our White House informant. After years of digging, Trump finally caught a break. A current Paradigm employee, someone the Bidens fucked over, came forward with enough evidence for Trump to make this move. "I don't know what specific evidence was presented, but it must have been some heavy-hitting stuff for Trump to call on Delta to take care of it." At 3 a.m. on New Year's Day, 3 Black Hawk helicopters, including decoy aircraft, airlifted Delta from Kiev to the drop zone. The team found the office building empty, devoid of life. The unit commander described the building as frigid, as if it had been vacant and without heat for a long time. The windows were covered in a hoarfrost glaze, and the place had a catacomb chill about it, he was quoted as saying. Every office had been stripped, no chairs, no desks, no computers, no nothing. No electricity. Although the building was long deserted, Delta found evidence of recent activity within the hacienda attached to the compound. In a kitchen were freshly chopped vegetables and a percolator of lukewarm coffee. Outside, fresh tire impressions led away from the compound. It was as if someone had tipped off the occupants. But in the hacienda, Delta hit pay dirt. They seized several laptops and $300 million in gold bullion. They also found crates of Chinese-manufactured Type 56 assault rifles and tens of thousands of rounds of ammunition. Even more disturbing, they found beneath the hacienda a maze of chambers and tunnels that ran for miles in every direction. Ankle and wrist shackles, bolted to the walls in various locations, held bits of necrotic flesh, and in an antechamber, they discovered 12 duffel bags filled with black tar heroin. On Trump's order, Delta coordinated with Ukraine's SBU, that nation's security agency in counterintelligence and combating terrorism, to confiscate evidence and await the arrival of State Department personnel. President Donald Trump asserted on Tuesday that Vice President Mike Pence has the power to reject electors that were fraudulently chosen, echoing statements made by his legal team in recent days ahead of January 6 joint session of Congress. "The Vice President has the power to reject fraudulently chosen electors," Trump wrote on Tuesday in a tweet. Republicans have been increasingly putting pressure on Pence, who serves as the president of the Senate, and will oversee the certification of the Electoral College vote. At least a dozen Republican senators and dozens of House representatives have pledged to object to states' electoral votes, which then is slated to trigger an hours-long debate before a simple majority vote is held on whether to certify a state's electoral votes.